Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Ramirez, and I've got my awesome co host here, Mando Gomez.
Howdy. How you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing great. I hope everyone else is doing great too. Today, we have a really packed episode, and we're going to talk about AI, sex, and money. So I think this will be very interesting for everybody to come listen to. Are y'all ready?
We
Let's
all are
go.
ready. Dale.
Dale.
Yeah, the first topic that I want to jump before we move into the main ones, man, it's sad. Do you remember Breaking Bad, the show?
Breaking Bad was awesome, man. That was
It-
all time favorites right there.
yeah, it's in my top 10, man, for sure. The guy that he was playing in the wheelchair, like the basically just with the bell, in the show, his name was Hector Salamanca. Do you remember him?
The guy that he can't talk, right? Es mudo. That's how you
Yeah.
say it in Spanish, right?
Yep. Yeah,
In
yeah.
the wheelchair. Mm-hmm.
Well, his real name is Mark Margolis, and yeah, he was 83 years old, man, and he passed away. So
Oh wow, 83. Well, he did pretty good.
yeah,
That's
I
overtime,
mean,
isn't it?
well, depending in what in
I guess in
US,
which country you grew up.
exactly. Maybe if you're in Japan, I think that they are one of the longest one, right, to be able
Right.
to have extended life. But yeah,
Oh man,
whatever you are, man, was a great show, man.
he was Hispano.
I think so. I mean, like he looked Hispanic. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but
No, it's because I see Margolis. I don't know. Isn't that the guy from the Margolis? That's what they called in the fate. What is it? The no face in what's the Game of Thrones?
Game of
The
Thrones.
guy that taught Arya how to fight, the Margulis or something like that.
I have no idea. I mean, but
Oh no! Hey, come on, Game of Thrones.
I
Anyways.
obviously that's the number one show ever.
No, well, either way, it's sad. It's sad to hear about Mr. Mark Margolis here, but you know he left a legacy in this awesome show, right? Breaking Bad,
Yeah,
and Mr. Salamanca. Hopefully, he goes rest in peace.
yeah. Rest in peace. Anyways, let's jump into the next topic. Dude, what the heck with this Elon Musk? Do you notice that he got like upset and he literally now purchased AI.com and redirected to X.com? So, uh, yeah, what's your take there?
He loves X's, I guess. I don't know what is up with that. That's just going to be his new branding, I guess. Last week we talked about how Twitter turned to X and they killed off Larry, but
Yeah,
I don't know
he
what's the
actually
deal.
this week also they put in San Francisco. I have to travel multiple times to that building,
Hmm.
and it's in the Bay Area. And literally he put an X, and almost he started looking like a Lex Luthor.
You're
In my mind.
right. It's kind of he's like the evil genius. It's like you never know what he's up to, but he's doing these weird things. I saw some reports where people were complaining about because that thing looks super bright, and it
It
was
is
like it was like
the
flashing in the middle of the night.
yeah, and I think that the city was asking him to remove it. We'll see. He always gets away with these type of things. I mean, I don't know, but the interesting part is that I think that he's feeling left out with the AI, and now he's actually, like
He got FOMO.
he got FOMO,
He got
and
FOMO.
and for those that don't know what FOMO means, is means fear of missing out, right? So I think that he's fearing that he's missing into the AI party. I'll tell you this: he has an interesting perspective that no matter what he's speaking, he thinks that he is helping humanity, right?
Mhm.
If you go to the X.ai, kind of what they have there is like the goal of XAI is to understand the true nature of the universe. Like, again, everything that he does, he's trying to save the humanity.
He's a very altruistic person. I think you could see that, right? I don't know. I don't know. I think half of the U.S. maybe not see him that way, but either way, in terms of technology and things like that, I think it's all awesome. I think he really is pushing the bounds, and he sets moonshots, and he's actually achieving them. So I think it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that he's very good on executing hard tech, right?
Hmm.
Rocket science, robots, Tesla, right? Like even solar in some point with the company Solar City. So I am excited to see that he has good people on his company, and he started just with few people, right, on X.ai.
Hmm.
So it's very interesting because it's moving very fast, right?
Yep.
Like all of the AI, if you remember, was kind of last year, right? I mean, in November-ish, we were thinking about Dali, and when we
Hmm.
were thinking on that, we all were thinking that AI was planning to replace kind of like the different type of jobs, right? But
Yeah.
no, it went directly to creators
To
and
the creative type of job. Actually, that's true. I think creative people thought, I can lean back, sit back. Nothing's going to happen to me because I've got a job that computers can't replicate or duplicate. I have the creative process.
yeah.
Bam! It's like build me a website, and it builds the whole thing and all the imaging and everything like that, and in a few seconds. I think, yeah, wrong.
You know, I think that kind of reminds me on Alexa, right? The Amazon Echo thing.
Hmm.
Um, like it is awesome, but there are some things that we don't have yet, right? Like in this case, you don't ask Alexa, clean out my dishes, right? So I think that sometimes the type of jobs that we will retain is like my haircut, right? Like
Yeah,
AI can
physical.
physical, typical things that you cannot get on Amazon, you cannot get on a computer, right?
Yeah,
So, and I think that maybe those are interesting businesses that I still gonna have to get a haircut, right? Sure, I can
yeah.
learn and I can do it myself, but barber, haircut, nails, right? For the
Hmm.
ladies, they want their hair to be made, etc. So, but yeah, interesting that how Elon is going back to trying to get that niche. Are you familiar with Tom Bilyeou? Again, his name is hard
Hmm.
to pronounce.
Bilyeou, value. Yeah.
Bilyeou,
Hmm.
right? So the guy is legit, right? I mean, he was in the borderline of a billionaire.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if he made it or not to become a billionaire, but he basically built this company called Quest,
Hmm.
and he cash out. Some of these people they get tired of these companies, they get a nice offer, and they cash out. I think that it was maybe 700-800
Okay.
meals,
Not
and
bad.
now, eh?
Not bad.
Not bad, right? Nice payout.
Yeah.
And now he's dedicating himself to this project called Impact Theory. And I can tell you that if you haven't seen his channel, shout out to him because he's creating nice content. The guy is super articulated. He created a studio in his house, right? I think that he lives in California, in LA, probably in the hills, Beverly Hills, and he just built a massive mansion. And inside of his mansion, he has this studio, right?
Hey,
Badass
just
studio.
just like us, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. We'll get there, man. We'll get there. So, and the reason why I'm calling this guy is because he interviews people, right, on what they believe. Have you
Hmm.
seen any of the his interviews with people on regarding AI?
Yeah. So I think he recently had someone. He used to be the CEO of Stability AI. His name was like Emad Mostaque.
Okay.
Very, very interesting. But I think like what a lot of people right now are saying that have been in the AI industry, they're kind of raising red flags and kind of trying to warn people right now. It's like, hey, we really need to be prepared for this because it's going to happen very, very quickly. I mean, we've already seen uh, these new technologies like the chat gpt and things like that,
Yeah.
and a lot of this imaging stuff, but people are building this stuff out right now with all of the attention and all the big brains in the US right now, or you're even across the world. They're all focusing on this right now, and they're trying to build out every single sector within business on how it can be used. So I think it's really interesting, where it's all going. And a lot of these folks, they're all saying we have to be careful because it has the potential for jobs to be one changed in how you do your job, because I think
Hmm.
everyone's going to be expected to be able to use AI in some form or factor within their job to gain
Yeah.
efficiencies. And in some cases, jobs may be replaced completely. And like you alluded to earlier, I think the graphics design is something there that, that's kind of easy pickings at this point. And then all of the copywriting that like Chat GPT and those types of technologies can do as well.
This is my take on AI. Uh, you have to see it as one of the best tools on humanity. And yeah, some jobs might get replaced, but others might be enhanced. Like before, you used to have like a screwdriver, right? And then technology evolved, an electric screwdriver, right? So it's
Hmm.
like that, but 100 times better, right? Which is you know how to write, but guess what? The AI can actually show you 100 different times how to reward an idea. So I
Hmm.
think that the important thing here is to learn how to use these tools and don't be afraid of the tools, right? It's like, hey, what this tool is going to replace me. The other thing is that it will allow you to scale. Maybe before you only can serve one or two clients, guess what? Now you're gonna be able to serve 50 or 100 clients. And for
That's right.
sure, if you don't know how to use it, you might get replaced, my friend.
Exactly. Our friend Emad Mostaque from that was on the Tom Bilyeou podcast. He made a claim that he thinks that there won't be any programmers here in 5 years. Now, I guess we're both from that world, so we
Mhm.
might have some ideas around that. But I think maybe for sure, maybe like your first level or your junior coders, people that are maybe just learning a certain language or something like that. Yeah, I think he definitely has a case for that. I think once you get to the higher levels about how to architect stuff, I think those folks will be able to use AI as a tool and improve their workflows and improve efficiencies. But I can certainly see a case for at least right now the first level coders. I mean, they've got to level up real quick in order to
Yeah,
get above the you know I guess that threshold of what an AI can do.
I'll tell you this. There is a tool that is called Copilot. So when you are programming, I'm a coder by heart, right? I have been coding since I was a little kid. Never stopped, right? So to do any tools and whatever. So there is a tool that called Copilot that you can install it with VS Code. I'm not gonna be too geek here, but the interesting portion of this is that imagine that you have like a Word document that you're writing, and you're writing the code in different languages. Well, this tool allows you to be a co-pilot. What it means is that and it's magical, by the way, because you are thinking in something and it's actually writing it for you even before you start typing it, right? So it's like an autocomplete, and we all are familiar with the autocomplete, but with source code. So, and how do they basically get that? Is because Microsoft acquired GitHub, which is a company that they actually have all of the repositories of, well, a lot of the repositories for the source code globally, and they actually train the AI to be able to see what are other programmers being able to use. So it can distinguish very quickly what is the next sections of your code, because again, many programmers in the world probably have programmed that. I'll tell you this, my efficiency when I'm programming something, it is basically, I don't know, 30-40%. So
Mhm.
it improved my programming skills just by using that tool.
Yeah, definitely. I've taken a look at it as well, and my earlier career was in development, and I moved on into management more so now. And I really don't do much coding anymore, except for just like fun special projects that I'm trying to do, like if I want to do an app or something like that.
Mm.
But it even does help with that, because since I've been kind of further away from development and later in my career, it gives me everything I need to just get a jump start and to put a small app together, things like that I want to do. Like maybe I haven't done anything in Android in a while. It's a good skeleton, and then like Gomez said, it allows you just to kind of start typing, and it'll be able to fill in kind of what the parts are that you need. I even use I could even use ChatGPT sometimes to start something off so that I can get an
Scaffolded.
outline. Like I'll describe what it is that I'm trying to do, and then it'll give me a good place to start, and I'll put that into VS Code. So I think that's, these new workflows are what people that are already, getting comfortable and using AI are doing, and it's making them a lot quicker. It can get a project off the ground more quickly, more efficiently. Maybe you don't need a team of coders anymore
Yeah.
working on each piece, like front end, back end, things like that. It can really all be done by one person.
Yeah. And I think that this is not something that humanity has dealt with before. What I mean is like as technology has been evolving, it allows us to kind of change some of the way how we work. Before, like when we were like having farms and some things like that, then we got technology, right? Then we thought that all of the jobs that we used to have, they were gone, right? And yeah, some they were gone, but guess what? They were new jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa, right? So I think that we are evolving as humanity, and these are nice tools, right, to be able to leverage. Uh, I was surprised that very quickly it moved to the creators, right? That
Mm-hmm.
literally it went to the top, which kind of highlights our lack of being able to predict
The
the
future,
trends.
exactly. We
Yeah.
don't even. Yeah, that is very funny. I mean, okay, so I guess on this topic, right? Like, what other jobs do we think will begin disappearing right now? I say that in
Hmm.
quotes because we can't predict the future,
Yeah.
but if we start thinking about it, if we start extrapolating, okay, this creative stuff, um, what about actors? Because now we've got, or actually the whole like Hollywood scene, we've got we've got these AI models that can write, and we have these AI models that can generate images. I mean, you put those two together, that's a lot of what like Hollywood is. And right
Hmm.
now, right now, there's like this writer's strike in Hollywood.
Hmm.
So I wonder if a lot of those people are leveraging something like ChatGPT to start putting together some scripts.
Yeah, I mean, it's to help you to outline, right? So as you mentioned it before, I like we have been saying on this pod, create an account and start playing with it, and it can help you also to think very well, right? Because when you are trying to get an idea, whether for a movie or whatever it is, it
Mm-hmm.
allows you to scaffold it, and you can ask the engine, "Hey, could you help me to outline a play or a book or whatever it is?" Right? You still have to. It's like an assistant, right? It's helping you to do it, right? It will follow instructions. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you give a very bad instructions, guess what? Maybe the output will not be very good. But once that you start getting the hang on being able to provide the instructions with they call it the prompts,
Prompt engineering.
then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes very very powerful. So mentioning about the influencer, there is these guys that they created an Instagram model, and I actually tweeted on my X account because now it's not a Twitter account.
Was it on Threads or on X?
No, in X, it was in X.
Okay.
The it has 2 million followers, and you see the picture, and the picture it looks
Yep.
like amazing, right? Like a model. But plot twist, she's 100% AI generated, right?
Surprise, surprise.
And surprise, surprise, the image it looks like legit, right? Like
Yeah.
and you know the funny part too, they charge $8,000 to just generate that image to for doing some brand deal, and
Mm.
it's just it opens a whole flood of different type of businesses. And yeah, you're right. What happened if they do it in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Instead of asking Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt, hey, can you play this? Because they have to record and they have to have all of this. And instead of that, they just can we use your
Your
older you,
likeness. Yeah.
your older you, right? Like maybe 20 years ago, Brad Pitt, and for this movie with your voice, your looks, etc.
Well, I wonder if like in contracts, they've had like I'm sure they've had to like previously they used CGI. right?
Mm-hmm.
CGI. If they needed to do editing, they probably were able to kind of edit the movie and maybe do things like that. I wonder if they've already had to scan their face or their likeness or their body for certain parts of the movie. What if they take that information or that data and just completely duplicate someone within an AI, and create this like an avatar of a movie star?
The
You know,
algorithms are getting that good that you don't even have to have a suit.
right?
The algorithm can sense the shoulders, like all of the points, because sometimes they have a recording for the whole body, right?
Yeah,
And they can actually the algorithm can pick up how they walk, right? Like their even for their voice too, right? So the voice is getting very very good. On yeah, sometimes you cannot even recognize. They call them deep fakes
hmm,
that literally uh, Obama or Donald Trump, whatever, they
yeah.
might be just saying something and it's fake, right?
Yeah, actually, funny story. I was talking with my stepdad, and he was saying, "Oh, I just got this supplement that Elon Musk uses. It's called shoot. I call it True Legit because it kind of sounds like that, but it's like
Sure.
Shoe Legit or
I have
something
no
like
idea.
that.
Okay.
No clue. But anyways, I'm like, oh, let me check it out. And it turns out that what he saw was a fake video. Somebody
Mm.
generated a fake video of Elon Musk saying that this is one of the supplements that he takes as part of his stack,
Hmm.
and it was completely made up. But he couldn't tell the difference. I guess
Yeah.
it's that's a deep fake. That's something that's going to be happening a lot more.
Yeah. If you're into if you're a lawyer and you know tech, that's a great business to be, which is how you can detect um, the or verify this type of content, right?
Hmm.
Because to be honest, that's where the rules of the government will help out, right? A lot of this is copyright, right? Like why this company is taking Elon's uh, persona and endorsing something that he probably didn't, right?
Yeah,
So I think that is creating that type of a problem where you're gonna see lawsuits left and right, right?
for sure. Well, have you heard of this thing called about like the Uncanny Valley? The Uncanny Valley is like kind of that difference between you can tell something's kind of fake
Hmm.
or it's like almost real, but it's like kind of right there on the cusp.
Hmm.
Um, I think right now, if we see a lot of things, we can tell that it's fake.
It's still fake, yeah.
But I think pretty soon that's
It's
going to be a
blurring.
lot harder. There's the latest generative models.
Hmm.
The skin is starting to look a lot more realistic. I think if something
The
looks too
hands.
perfect, right, you actually have 5, 10 fingers instead of 12 total fingers or something
That
like that.
for the audience, the reason why we are making this comment is because the AI models they don't know well before like a few months back, the hands was the problem, right? Like the model couldn't make very nice hands because their hands are complex. So even for people that they draw like artists, that's one of the things that they take the longest to be able to draw
To master.
to
Mhm.
master, right? So and AI as well.
We're not AIs. Like I've got 10 fingers here.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Maybe I'm talking to an avatar of you from
Yeah, I'm
Houston.
a I'm a reptilian, like Huicho. That was funny. Well, yeah. So I think that's we're right there at the cusp where we really aren't going to be able to tell the difference between something that's real and fake, just because the textures are getting better. Skin textures, you can see little like you'll be able to see certain pores, all that stuff that makes something look real.
Hmm.
It's all getting there.
I think that sometimes maybe it's funny because we might want the imperfections
Yeah.
and quote me on this, right? Like when everything will be like perfect, then you want it to be handmade because it's kind of unique and maybe there's some imperfections and you know that there is some human time involved, right?
Hmm.
So you can get a photograph of Mona Lisa, right, or whatever, right? Like, but why would you prefer than a piece of art that you know that it was made by an artist, right?
Yeah.
There are multiple things, and maybe that's something that we can think, right? How do you prepare, or how? What's your take there? How you can prepare for this wave of technology?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe, like we mentioned earlier, there's right now, a lot of things that the AI can't do. I mean, of course, Elon Musk is working on the robots right now. So they've ramped up very, very quickly. But if we start thinking about, things that humans are doing, the artisanal type stuff where they're crafting things handmade, maybe that is kind of going to be really right now that's already considered like luxury type goods, right?
Mhm.
But I think maybe that's going to go up in value, and that's how you can start preparing it. By the way, have you heard about this story about the South Park simulation?
No, not yet.
Okay, so in this South Park simulation, there's a group of AI researchers or whatever that they said they wanted to be able to duplicate a show of South Park. And if you're not familiar with South Park, it's kind of like a funny animated series for more for adults. Um, and they were able to train a model with all of the characters from South Park and with all of the different like locations within the South Park cartoon, and they were able to create a model that then generated a whole episode of South Park just with one prompt. You would be able to write, a couple sentences on what the episode would be about,
Hmm.
and then it would automatically be able to create a South Park episode. It would even be able to create new characters with the same look and feel of what those other South Park characters are. And so, and this, now they did a limited series just because I don't think they're the ones that hold like the IP rights for South
Sure.
Park. But they made several episodes that kind of show, hey, we're already able to do this now, and it's as good quality as normal South Park what they normally put out. So I think it's very, very interesting how a lot of this is going to turn out. I mean, you can foresee people doing a prompt of a movie they want to watch, and you'll be able to generate a movie just for yourself, right? It's very. Have you seen Black Mirror? I think one of the
Yeah, the Netflix show.
episodes, one of the recent episodes from this latest season, kind of touched on that. In that there's, it can be like specific generated episodes just for one person.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
really
you can
interesting.
customize probably. Once that you are able to do that, you can customize to maybe the sentiment that you want, right?
Yeah,
Uh, which is like if you want to be happy, well, maybe you see a show that it might give you that emotion, right?
yeah,
I think
and
that go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, maybe it's not even you tell it what you want, but you tell, hey, this is the kind of day I'm having. Can you what do you think I should watch? And it customizes it for you based on your history, your past data, usually what you watch, time of day, which day,
Hmm.
big data is still something that is charging AI, right? So once you
Hmm.
combine all of that, I mean, sky's the limit.
For sure. I think that going back how to prepare for this, just be curious, right? I think that you don't have to be afraid. Just more be approach it as being curious, like a almost like a childlike, you know. It's like, hey, how this is like the wonder to be able to figure out, okay, how is this working, or how I can learn prompt engineering, right? Because it's a skill. I
Hmm.
think that in order for you to be able to give instructions to the machine, in this case to the AI, that's a nice skill to have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Uh, there's this thought about universal basic income,
Hmm.
which is something that people have started to kind of float about because there might be situations where um, people don't have jobs because of the oncoming kind of AI revolution, things like that. Really starting to look down the line, but really, what universal basic income is. An organization, maybe the government, would be able to give people a certain stipend to be able to live on. So it's basically it's a safety net for people, so that in case their jobs is one of the ones that got replaced by an AI or by a robot down the line, they do have a safety net so that at least they can have somewhere to stay and something to eat. And
Dude,
we don't see people just lined up outside
I
on the
I
corner of
do
the
have
streets.
a strong feeling about nobody in the planet. If you're a human being, you shouldn't die of hunger, right? there are things that you should have, and yeah, I think that food, like, that's ridiculous. Like here in America, we waste so much food, right? Just go to any
Unfortunately.
restaurant, any fast food. Like, this is ridiculous, right? Obviously, also water, to be able to have access to water. It has been expensive to get from the ocean salt water and all that, but there is technology. Singapore, actually, they had an issue and they start creating a plant to be able to get that. So I think that I'm not sure the execution of this, right? Because at least we saw it on COVID. They were just handing out checks, and people didn't want it to work, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they abuse the system, right? So I think that
Hmm.
they have to really, really think this. But I think that the essence is good in heart, right? Which is like
Hmm.
how you make sure that people, they are able to eat, they're able to, basically, your means, right? Your housing, your food, etc. But I do think that sometimes maybe we are removing the motivation, right? It's a hard topic and extremely
Hmm.
political.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't think either of us really have the answer for that, but want to throw that out. We don't want to cause anxiety by saying, "Hey, AI robots going to take over the world." I think as long as there's people thinking about potential solutions for what's coming and how to be prepared, I think life changes, culture changes, things change as we move forward, especially through technology revolutions like what's coming up. So I think it's don't just think about the negative, but things about how some of the good things that can happen out of this to provide that safety net that might be needed in the future or even now.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Let's move on to the next topic, though. You
Yeah,
want some
everyone should get
sex?
chocolate.
Do you want some sex chocolates?
Are you propositioning me here? What's going on?
You're not that lucky, man. You're not that lucky. You're not my type.
Okay.
All right, I'll tell you a story. Few years back, when we were traveling around Europe, uh, in some areas we had a tour guide. Dude, the tour guide was awesome. But in Netherlands, there are a lot of different places, right? And I know that sometimes talking about sex is taboo, but in Netherlands, it's not.
Yeah, Amsterdam, red light
Yeah,
district.
you have Amsterdam, that they literally have these streets of the red district, right? And they have like options for any type of people that they like certain things, right? Anyways, this tour guide, she was asking each person if they wanted to go to the red district, but the way that she was asking it was kind of funny. It's like, "Do you want sex? Do you want sex?"
Oh, very direct, huh?
It's like, it was shocking, because we hear her the first time. What is she talking about, right?
Mhm.
Then it just became funny. So I always remember this that is a scene when "Do you want sex? Do you want sex?" Anyways, going back to the topic, uh, have you heard about this? It's basically a sex chocolate tap,
Mhm.
and they own the website, right? They have like a tapschocolate.com, and we are
Okay.
not sponsored by them. It's just an interesting topic that we wanted to bring to the pod.
Yeah. Is it? I'm assuming is this kind of like the blue pills or whatever?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's kind of like they have their own mix. Remember, some of these are supplements, right? On some things might work, some things might not. We are not endorsing it. It's just basically something interesting about this. If you go to their website,
Mhm.
they call it break, bite, and bang.
I gotcha. So you break the chocolate.
The
Okay.
idea of the chocolate is that they have like three portions of the chocolate, and you wanted to share it with your significant other, right? And then you split it in two, one for you and one for your partner, and yeah, basically it goes into the aphrodisiac and all of that.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So they claim, again, I haven't tried them. It's just for me. I started digging into this because I'll tell you some of the business aspect of on this portion, right? So they said that they boost the pleasure. It has dark chocolate. Dark chocolate actually has been shown to help with that, right? Because it releases some of your own hormones, oxytocin, if I remember, to be
Mhm.
able for you to be an stimulant, right? Like a
Get in the
coffee.
mood.
get in the mood, right? So they use natural high ingredients, right? Right now, everything is kind of the trend. Everything has to be natural.
To get around the laws.
I guess.
I don't know.
So it allows you to, I guess, increase sex performance, right? It stimulates the blood flow, et cetera, et cetera, right? So
Yeah.
whatever. I think that for me, when I start going into this rabbit hole, the owner, could you believe it? The guy is like 21-year old, the founder of this company.
Well, it makes sense. I think most teenagers, that's all they think about is sex, right? Isn't that what Adidas stands for? All day I dream about sex. So
I guess, dude. The guy was interviewed, and literally, it's like, well, I mean, my peers and me, I just like think about this, and I like chocolate. Hence, I just want to point it out how simplistic is this.
Mhm.
But you know what? The guy was able to take from like zero to $11 million business in just
Mhm.
18 months. That's what I grabbed my attention to this product and this kind of the whole situation, right?
Mhm.
What's your take there?
I mean, I think it's brilliant. I mean, anytime that you can kind of bring two different worlds together and create a new product, I think it's pretty cool. I'll tell you a story. You remember our buddy Paul
Sure.
back
We will
from
not say the last name, but bold
well,
dude.
anyways, Paulo.
He actually wanted I was to call him Pablo Escobar.
Oh, Pablo. I will call Pablo. Anyways, we were talking one day and we had this idea of, hey, as like I was thinking of, I want to create like some product, like some candy or something like that, but with that had some type of effect on you, whatever.
Mhm.
So I wanted to try like an energy candy. Um, so I so we were talking, and you can buy taurine powder, which is like one of the
The
ingredients in
Red
Red
Bull.
Bull. Taurine, which actually recently it's been discovered that it's maybe has some anti-aging properties too.
Probably, yeah.
But anyways, so I bought this temperature stable taurine. It's a powder, and I was basically creating like a Jolly Rancher that is energy. And I tried making it. The thing is, I ruined a lot of pans in my kitchen and tried to make this hard candy just as
Let's be honest.
a
You know
test.
how to cook.
I'm not Breaking Bad. I could not have been a character for real there. So I couldn't cook it, but I thought the idea itself was sound,
Important
right?
thing, that you wearing your tidy whities.
That's the key I was missing. I think is that I didn't get the cook right. There must have been some contaminants. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool. Something that you find something that people already use, right?
Hmm.
Which would be like these blue pills to give you better performance or whatever the case might be, and you merge it with something that people like, candy, chocolate in this case, right? I
Yeah,
think it's brilliant. So it's a pretty good move. It's something that I think easy to sell.
for sure. And I think that you see it with different YouTubers like Mr. Beast, right?
Hmm.
I It's just interesting to me that all of these people, they use products like that, like chocolate. When actually, I think that it's a hard product to even ship. Guess what? It will get melted right in the middle of like freaking Amazon truck or whatever, right? Like
Hmm.
because of the heat. So I am actually surprised that they use pig, but again, it's the simplicity, right? On the product, you don't have to explain people, even on the name, right? It's like, hey, it's a chocolate that allows you to enjoy sex, right? So
Yeah.
it's very simple concept to understand. I think that for me, kind of the genius on this guy, it was the marketing.
Hmm.
Um, have you heard about the UGC?
Mm-mm. Did you see?
It stands for user generated content.
Okay. Yeah.
So now that we have all these social media uh, all around, right? Like you have X before Twitter, Threads, TikTok, you name it, right?
It's like our
Uh,
major export now, right? Is content.
yeah, and it's just people creating content, and the algorithms for these social medias, they are hungry. So because they are showing every like minute a new video, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's becoming a nice tool for companies to be able to create content, and you see it with makeup, you see it with products like this, right? And if you are a fan of TikTok, it's just bunch of content there, right? But the genius on this guy, it was that the guy didn't create any TikToks himself.
Mm-hmm.
He created an army of social media small influencers.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't went for the. He tried all of these. He went with the big ones. He went with the small ones. But what his thinking was, I just need to scale with many, right? Like instead of
Mm-hmm.
having maybe just 10 influencers that he has to pay maybe $500, $1,000 for a shout out or a video, uh, maybe just volume. So
Mm-hmm.
he got 100, 200, 400, 2,000 people
Mm-hmm.
into an affiliate program. An affiliate program is basically somebody selling for you with a link, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they get commission. Very
Right.
very easy to understand.
Yeah, it's something kind of tried and true, like your Cutco knives, your what is the Avon. You've got your a lot of your like what are they called?
Network
Multi-level
marketing.
marketing.
Network
Multi-level
marketing.
marketing. That's it, right. I guess this is just kind of what the new thing is called, right? Is kind of the affiliate marketing,
Hmm.
where you're able to leverage the power of many to sell your products, right?
For
So
sure.
what's the key part that's kind of different that he did here, though?
I think that the part that was different is that usually people, even I have done it myself, where I want to have my branding,
Hmm.
I want to have my product, then I allow my agency or people, right, that they
Hmm.
come and modify or create my videos and my content for the company. So it is, I call it centralized. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of wanted to oversee that they are talking in certain way, using certain, like, I want to call it the control, right? Like the control is basically on the branding of the company.
Hmm.
The thing here with UGC is that you give that control away to people, and people is like use their wording, use their funny way, almost like you don't define the brand, it's just their perception.
Hmm.
And I think that number one, that he didn't invented that, but he used that. And the second
Yeah.
part that he did is the scale. He was
Hmm.
able to manage all of these people. And how did he manage all of these people? Just through Discord.
Oh,
Discord is like a community, kind of like they use it for gaming,
it's like
but
a
it just be
forum. It's like for the
it's a
older folks,
chat.
it's kind of like a chat or a forum.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So I'm envisioning this now. It's basically like he created this new social media type engine to create all the content to do all his advertising for him. And rather than penny pinching on maybe securing like one or two or three deals with specific very large social media creators, he says he's going for volume and getting
Hmm.
as many people to do advertising for him through user generated content. And he still makes a cut, but it's from a larger piece of the or a larger pie, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. If you think about it, it's kind of he created like an infinite power engine. Have you seen these things where people are always trying to create these engines that are self-powered and go forever, just all on their own? It's kind of he did the same thing based
Yeah.
with social media.
Jeff Bezos has this notion when he was forming Amazon. He called it the flywheel. It's a
Mm-hmm.
flywheel effect where if you have his thinking was when you get a book and you get a lot of books, then you start having kind of moving the wheel, right? But then when you have a lot of distribution, then it's another thing. Then that will create a lot of customers. Then it's making the wheel spinning, right? Which is kind of the flywheel effect, which I do agree with this. So if you have multiple people, right, for different like Hispanics or uh, Asians or whatever, right, and they are creating content, it appeals to them, and they are just pointing it to their website.
Yeah.
So the guy literally he created his own distribution channel, almost with no pay ads, right? He was just paying to create the content, and guess what? He even has the content that he was able to leverage because he has the statistics. He
Mhm.
knows what content is bringing more traffic to his website. So then he actually grabbed the best ones to have them in retainer, just to keep creating more
Mhm.
content. The other thing that he did is that he said, you know what, create your own account. I don't want to handhold you.
Yeah.
Let's say that you want your own account in TikTok. You can name it like a Sex Chocolate Ramirez, right? So,
Yeah.
and then you create all of the content, and you have your link. Then you forward the traffic to this guy. And I
Yeah.
think that was kind of the genius part.
Pretty interesting. It's a another take on a shared revenue model, right? I think basically he's making himself as a wholesaler or like as a distributor, right? And everyone else has their own franchise or whatever, and they're the ones that are selling it. So it's
Yep.
pretty cool. It's an interesting way to kind of flip the model on its head a little bit. Is one way of doing it, but it's another way of bootstrapping. I think he realizes a lot of people that are working in the social media space and trying to generate content, they're trying to bootstrap their own income in a certain way. So I think that's pretty interesting way of doing it. And now that it's growing and it's scaling, he is probably falling. That person's falling back more and becoming more of that distributor and letting other folks kind of take the reins on how do they want to market it, how do they want to get that product into people's hands.
Yeah, for sure. I did notice when I was going with Oliver. His name is Oliver
Mm-hmm.
Brocato. I noticed that there is a bunch of young YouTubers like in their 20s, and they're making millions. And I just stumbled upon a couple people. Another one is Luke Belmar.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 20-year-old. Another one is Brett. Maybe I'm butchering his name. Brett Malinowski, another YouTuber, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, like for the case of Luke Belmar, uh, he is basically he claims that he made 42 millions in the last couple years with
That's a good bit.
dropshipping and crypto, and now he has this thing called Capital Club Community. So, have you heard any of these YouTubers?
CCC Capital Club Community.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. No,
No.
I think he's new, but I think what you're saying, yeah, I think that's what a lot of folks are drawn to just in general in social media and YouTube is that there's a possibility of making a lot of money just from your likeness and your personality, right?
Yeah, for sure. Then it's interesting because this guy and some of these guys they talk interesting way. One of the things that he uses, he says, "You all of you are peasants."
Okay.
And it's like I know understand what he's doing, right? He's trying
Hmm.
to divide the people for his audience, right? He's trying to say, hey, you know what? If you want to be a peasant and remain a peasant, don't learn, don't up level, right? Don't be curious, right? Don't use AI,
Hmm.
and you still be a peasant. Maybe I should start using that. You peasants that don't know AI.
Ay, we're trying to be inspirational for our folks there, man. But okay, Luke
Anyways,
Belmar, peasants.
peasants. But the other thing that he uses though, uh, it is lingo from software. Like
Hmm.
it's interesting to me because again I have been in tech for all my life,
Yep.
and now it's funny that these kids are using lingo like the data sets, right? Data sets is a terminology for even for AI, right? To be able to describe what the AI model wants to learn.
Uh-huh.
But when he's talking in his YouTube videos for regular audience, he's using in the context, yeah, man, you have to update your data sets. You have to up level, right?
Well, you know what? In a way, that's probably how he creates this level of trust, and people can actually trust what he's because he's using terms that maybe other people aren't familiar with, and they're like, "That guy knows what he's talking about," right?
Probably.
Good
Maybe
strategy.
sound to sound smart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The other one I noticed is that multiple people is using the matrix concept, right? It's
Hmm.
like get out of the matrix, right? It's like all of these concepts that they are
You got to
very.
unplug.
You got to unplug, choose the
Uh-huh.
pill, right? Choose the
Red pill,
red pill,
blue pill.
blue pill, right? So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think that is just fascinating to me. All of these YouTubers, how they are targeting the demographic and most of them they're targeting males, young
Hmm.
males.
So is the 28-year-old, is that still considered millennial or is that Gen Z?
I think that is in the border now in for
That
that
might be.
age,
I'm a
and
millennial. I mean, technically in the
I'm in the line on between millennial and X.
in Gen
So
X.
literally for 1 year.
Hmm. Yeah, me too. 1 year on inside millennial,
Hmm.
and maybe yeah. So that's very interesting. So maybe he is familiar with those terms because those are maybe he's I don't know what his background is, but as a almost 30-year-old, I'm sure he's had some experience already in the working world, things like that. So maybe that's how he picked up a lot of those terms. Matrix is a big part of I think maybe millennial type culture also.
Hmm.
So pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah, I think that like they are targeting obviously some crypto AI and something like that. But for me, also the trend that I was able to look in this week is that they are targeting males that they are, let's call them beta, kind of like. And I think that is something that is happening with the younger generation. Obviously, I don't like to generalize, but I feel that they are confused. And the reason
Uh-huh.
why I feel that way is because there is so much content. I'll be confused too. Like, when you're developing, you're creating your critical thinking, right? Trying to figure out who's bullshitting you, who is saying the truth, right? Because again, even like us, right? Two dudes on the internet doing a
Yeah.
podcast. We sound smart, or at least I like to think that.
I wouldn't make any assumptions here, but okay.
So, but I think that is difficult. It is truly difficult to figure out who is saying the truth, right? And I think that these YouTubers, they are targeting kind of that demographic to be able to, and in an inspiring way, which at the end of the day, that's what we are trying to do here, right? We are trying to inspire, we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
si se puede, right?
Sí, se
From
puede.
our Hispanic perspective with our own lenses. But
Yeah.
yeah, I did notice that uh, that these YouTubers are targeting that demographic, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty
what's your take?
interesting though. I mean, I think we've talked about a few social media people and it seems like I mean, we're doing the same, right? We're doing user generated content and things
Hmm.
like that where, we our background is engineering, software engineering, things like that. I do a little hardware engineering too. But in the news recently, I heard this week, and I'll just throw this out there: the superconductor, um, a new superconductor was kind of discovered or generated. I think they call it SK99. Anyways, but the big news about this, if you're not familiar with superconductors, is that basically it will allow you to superconductors allow you to transfer energy kind of in a lossless way, so you're not really losing it to heat. And we already have superconductors, but they have to be at extreme temperatures or pressures. And so what we have now is that we this superconductor was developed as a ambient temperature and ambient pressure, so just like normal in normal situations that you might see. So if you have it in your electric vehicle or you have it in your phone, a superconductor, you'll have something that lasts a lot longer, and this energy has a lot less heat issues and things like that. Anyways, all of this just to say that this technology wasn't built in the US. Typically, when you hear something like this, a lot of times you hear it's coming out of the US. This was actually came out of Korea and China, and the US is now maybe the laggard here, right? They're just catching up to this, and they're like, whoa, 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 let's verify this, which that happens in the scientific community. You always want to verify someone else's tests and research, but usually it's flipped around. I mean, you hear a lot of folks going into just user generated content now.
Hmm.
That's where a lot of the brain power now is flowing into in the US. It's very, very interesting. Like, and I even see this as an example of us, right? We are coming into the content space where we used to be engineers.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, still engineers, but right, this is where we're dedicated some of our free time now.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's an interesting take. Where right now we're not really creating value. Maybe in the normal sense, we're just trying to create clicks. I don't know. That's. I'm not sure how to think about that. I still think of myself as a creator, even
Yeah.
technical creator, but
Or
now
builder, right?
it's
Slash
yeah.
builder
Now it's a
slash
different
creator.
creator.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I think that after I was going through this research, I was thinking, man, this 21-year-old, right, that has millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a trend that a lot of them. Uh, what do you do, right? And that's maybe the next topic on money.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do when you have your first 100K, 500K, 1 million in cash,
Yeah.
right? Let's go through some of that.
Well, I, I'm not sure how you get to there. I mean, I have my experiences, but if we try to kind of pinpoint how we do it, maybe you want to play the lotto. I don't know if you've heard. They've had $1 billion lotteries recently for the
They
Powerball
do,
and the Mega Millions. I bought my ticket, so
dude.
I'm not
I
sure
do
I'm going to
have.
let the whole audience know if I win it.
I do have a story about that. I have this friend. His name is, we call him Poppy.
Uh,
Um, he is the
Puppy,
most
like
Poppy.
Puppy peed
Yes,
on my sofa. Sorry, Seinfeld reference.
he's in Miami. He's in Miami.
uh, okay.
He's the most lucky, unlucky person that I know for the Powerball. Why? He got like 98% of the numbers or whatever. He basically one number and it hurt like for him like, man, this sucks.
So close yet so far.
Yep. So I mean, it's like a 1 billion, right? Like that he could have won for
Yeah.
that one.
Well, I know a lot of Latinos like to play the lottery, and the thing is, you're putting time and effort into playing the lottery. Hey, take some of that same time and effort into maybe generating some other stuff. So, what do you do? Okay, you're starting from nothing. We mentioned, what are some of the things that you have at your disposal that you
Yeah,
can do to
let,
start
let's
climbing
let's
this
do
ladder?
let's do the latter, right? So let's start with zero. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of I do hear, hey, yeah, you're talking big things, Mando, and like I have nothing, I have shit, right? It's like
I suck, right? In Mando's words.
so the first thing there, you have time. You cannot be broke and have no time, right? So for sure, when you are like literally broke, you have to be able to carve the time. So let's call it sweat equity.
Yeah.
That's where you need to focus. You might have family or you might have network. If you have nothing, man, yeah, that's a tough one, right? But let's assume that you have some level of family and network. There are ways.
Yeah.
If you have been good with basically good work ethic, doesn't matter, maybe you are 15, 16, even 20s, right? You might be able to get a loan, right? You might have the rich uncle, you might have whoever, right? Or a friend or your padrino, right? Like your godfather or godmother, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You might be,
I think this is one of the things that a lot of Latinos rely on. I've seen a lot of stories about that, and even myself, right? I think it's something that that's one of the best ways for you to kind of bootstrap, and that's what a lot of people call it. Bootstrapping is like you figure out how to kind of get started within your own sweat equity and your own network. For Latinos, it's a lot of your family sometimes. So. Uh, don't be afraid to use it, but don't just ask for money willy nilly. Have a plan or a
yeah.
deal in place, right? Because
I
that's something that you might have.
ding 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 ding. You hit the jackpot there. Deal. If you don't have a deal, it's hard. And there are many examples. Let me just give you an example that most people follow very easily. It's just imagine that you are in your place where you live. In Houston, there are certain areas that they are kind of hot areas, right? You have the Heights, you have like River Oaks. But
Mhm.
if you go to New York, you have Manhattan, right? You name it. Any place have their own location. What do we mean with that deal is that you are actually figuring out how to find those deals, those opportunities. Imagine if you find a house that is half of the price. right? And you're gonna say, well, how do I find that? Well, guess what? There are ways. There are people that they're getting divorced. There are people that they are like, maybe you can go to the records on the taxes, people that they haven't paid taxes. Again, there are many ways to find deals, right? And you find it, you create a contract, you close the deal, and then you go with your rich uncle. It's like, hey, rich uncle, I have this property that is 50% discount. Can you help me to get it? And we literally can split 50-50 or whatever you want to do. Or maybe I'll give you just 10% in 1 week, right? Because I have the deal. Trust me, somebody that has money and understands business and all of that, they'll see that there is no risk. And in this scenario, is no risk because they have a collateral, which is the property. Worst case scenario is that if you don't know how to close the deal, the person will inject and they will try to figure out. But usually those type of operations are easy to go through. And guess what? You create a value, you create some money for the investor, and they can do some return. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's right. I think the deal is key. You can't come to someone empty handed. You've got to show that you've got something that you're working with. So, number one, if you're starting from zero, find a deal, something that can make money for you and for another person. You're basically going to become a wholesaler. You're going to find the deals, bring it to someone that has money. They're going to get you paid, make that money. Starting from zero, that's your homework. That's what you got to do.
Yep. Now let's jump. Let's say that you created that and you have some deals. And again, you can find different ways. That's the drop shipping, all of the garbage that you see on internet, right? Some of those you will be able to make money. Now, what do you do when you have 100K? This could be with your 9 to 5. This could be with your side hustle, etc., right? What do you think in this stage?
Well, so I think yeah, there's kind of the traditional route. I think that a lot of people are going to be taking. When you have $100,000, what do you do with it? Real estate is going to be one of the interesting things that you can do here. With 100K, that's enough money to be able to buy at least one property, depending on what demographic you're focusing on. You can do. We've previously talked about kind of that the rule of thumbs that you can use, like the
Mhm.
1% or 2% of the value of the home. Can you get that in rent? Real estate, that's going to be one of the traditional things that you can do. At that point, though, you're also maybe starting to look at doing investments like getting into your 401k or IRA. So do some things for planning for the future. You can also do normal investments that are taxable too. But at that point, the traditional things that you can do are kind of like real estate, investments. Right now, I might also say put some crypto or specifically Bitcoin in there. That's a smart thing to do, at least part of your portfolio.
Yeah, I do have a take here though in this stage. In my mind, you have to keep up leveling. So you have to have training. Sure, you can do all of that, but that's I don't want to say obvious, but it's kind of the traditional path that is there. But I think that what it will allow you to move in the ladder is actually acquiring a skill. And one of them, obviously, is business. If you can start acquiring, obviously, if you can start before, even better, right? But I really think that in this level, when you have disposable money, then you're okay spending 5K, 10K, right? Whatever it is on finding a skill. Like even to create this spot,
Yeah.
the equipment that we need, lights, cameras, editing, it is money. Even that we are making like nothing is right now is negative, right? But we are learning, right? We are
Yeah.
learning as we are building it, and I think that that's kind of the part, right? How to create that self training, and I think that that's kind of the way that I see it for that level.
Definitely. So at 100K, you can do the traditional routes and doing investments in real estate. But Mondo's saying, get your training, level up. You got to do this. I think right now, great opportunity. User generated content, social media, but then also on top of that, AI that's booming right now. Learn to be a prompt engineer. How can you get the most out of the AI tools that are currently out there? People are going to come to you. It may be when you're starting from zero, you're the one finding deals. But once you have a skill that nobody else has, like maybe prompt engineering, people are going to come to you with deals. So start looking at that when you're in kind of in that 100K range. You'll be able to make good deals and maybe make a little bit more money for yourself in that way.
For sure. And moving up on the ladder, 500K. This is actually where majority of people, at least in US, they kind of reach to this point in some point in their life, and that's kind of like even kind of the max, right? That 95% of the population, that's where kind of their limit in that range. Um, I think that in this range, what it takes is to truly understand leverage. Um, and I think that it's a word that actually we don't use it even in Spanish. When I'm trying to explain this terminology to my family that still lives in Mexico, I'm having trouble because it is not something that is being used. Like I said, the translation in Spanish is called apalancamiento, which means and it's very like a physics.
Hmm.
And what it is that if you go to the physics terminology, it means that you can employ maybe a pole to be able to move like a lever to move a huge object. But in finance, what you want is almost like a small input for big output. And if you truly understand that, it allows you to be able to buy different assets to make money. And one of the simple ones, let's go back to real estate. And I'll always like to go to real estate because it's very easy to follow up. Sometimes you might not have the money to be able to buy a house for 500K. But guess what? You might have the money to pay the down payment. Depending on your situation, your credit score, and the country where you live, you might literally have to pay maybe 3% to 10% or 20%, right, on this. So when you're putting the 20%, it literally means that is 5 to 1. So you have to put one of those five in order to do it. So if you are investing, let's say in that
An apartment
case,
complex.
in let's say that even something smaller, right? I like say a little strip mall for 1 million, and then you have only 200K for the down payment. Guess what? You can leverage with a bank to get a loan for 1 to 5. So basically, you're leveraging there with the capital of the bank. So you start understanding better the power of money leverage at that range, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly right. I think once you're in the 500K liquid cash, I mean, you're really starting to see, okay, maybe some of these smaller deals with where you're looking at houses, they're not generating enough yield, enough return for you to do that. And you might say you have 5 houses already. You might want to bundle that up and turn it into something a little bit bigger, something that maybe not everybody has access to, and you're able to get bigger returns, maybe with less risk. So that's something to look into. So really think about that. If you're in this range, what are the deals that you can do? Can you buy a business that's going to be making huge cash returns for you?
Hmm.
Maybe for a lot of our Latino viewers, they're currently working in landscaping or something like that, or they have a small landscaping business. How are you going to scale your business to grow? So maybe you get more trucks, you get more people, you get more routes. These are the types of things that you can start doing at this range. Learn to leverage your money. You got to be able to multiply it. Yes, you're going to pay a little bit of money in interest, but hopefully your return will be a lot more, many times multiple of what you're actually having to spend to get that leverage. So think about that. We'll cover kind of the next ranges maybe in the next session. Any parting words here, Mando?
Yeah, I think that for that one, I want to call out, if you're starting a business like in any trade, like landscaping, electrician, plumber, uh, maybe thinking a different strategy, because the reality is that a lot of businesses they fail, right? So basically, 95% they fail in the first 5 years, and the rest as well in 5 years.
Mhm.
I think that right now a better strategy would be to figure out if you can buy a business. And you might say, well, I'm broke. I have nothing. Well, what you have is brain, man. So what you can do is actually offer like hey, can you cut a deal? But maybe there is a seller's financing where maybe a person that is actually trying to retire, they don't care about the lump sum of their business. Let's say that their business is 2 millions and you have like zero. Again, going back to the you have zero, Then, but what you can do is to say, you know what, I'm willing to put all of the effort. I'll run the business. I'll make sure that it's no risk for you. Why? Because you can recoup it, right? I'll keep running it for 5 years and I will give you payments, almost like a mortgage, right? And I'll give you the interest. I'll give you 10%, 15% interest rates, right? Obviously, it's going to be high because guess what? You're not having the money to shell out. But yeah, that's another approach that I think that if I'm in that situation, that's a route that I will follow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you gotta find the deals. I mean, you've got to take everything that you learn from zero and use them in the next steps, and it all builds on top of each other. So, just a reminder to everybody. I want everybody to subscribe, like our videos. We're working hard to bring this content to you, to our fellow Latinos. So hopefully a lot of this content is of use to you. Of course, if you ever have a question, reach out, leave a comment. We'll get back to you. So remember to subscribe and like, and also just like we talked today, we've got some affiliate links if you want to use them. Look in the show notes for those items. Any last words? What do we want our
No,
audience to do?
sin miedo. Just keep investing, right? Understand leverage, and we'll continue to bring that topic in the pod.
Hey, sounds good. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Sin miedo. Talk to y'all next time.
Peace.